Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks. Today, taking a look at Supreme Straits. You know we love this map. And, whoa, what just happened? Oh, okay, somebody accidentally tapped out of the game or disconnected or some such shenanigans happening here, so it looks like Civ has already taken over for them. That should be interesting before we can even meet our teams spawning in here. Representing the Southwestern team, we're going to be the red team player here, Big T, showing us that they're not afraid to step into the water, get their toes wet, as we'll see them on the beachfront side. I think this is a pretty good side for your strongest player to be on, because realistically you should always win this side as the Navy player. You get into the water first, and so you can always lock down this shoreline, you can lock down this shoreline, claim these metal extractors. Yeah, there's a lot of potential here for this Navy player, so it's a great place for a strong player to start out at. Spawning in the northeastern side here for our blue team, we have La Coupa. La Coupa going in the backline here, starting up a energy storage. That's kind of interesting. Feels a little early for an energy storage, but I guess our team is, overflowing a lot of energy, so that's actually what's paying for this at the moment. So I actually like that a bit. I was worried that we'd be stalling a lot on energy here, but the team has kindly paid for this energy storage, so I guess that's going to work out quite nicely here for La Coupa. La Coupa is now going for some wind power. I'm looking for the tech transition here, or whatever our technology building is going to be. Hold my weed has already got an air lab out here. We've given away an air transport to our sea lane player here, so that is quite nice. This commander is going to have the transport needed in order to move around a little bit more effectively. We probably are going to take over this island. At least that's what I would do if I was in this position here. And so this is a pretty good move. I actually really like that we're handing out these transporters here. Flying the commander. Oh, we're flying the commander over here, but the way he has that position almost makes me wonder if we are going to be doing some shenanigans here. As far as radar coverage goes, nothing on this team. So if there was, I don't know, say a constructor that flew through here, we wouldn't catch it. At the moment, though, we don't have an unload command yet, so that's interesting. Red Dragon has skipped these metal extractors, gone for the rear bot lab, so we are going to be able to eventually get those under control, but we're moving the commander out to get this sea lab out here against Captain Squishy, who is already pumping out a bunch of these missile corvettes, the light missile ship for the Cortex faction. Doxed. Okay, so we are setting the commander down here. That is nice. We're probably just going to claim the metal extractor advantage here. As far as Big T is concerned, we are not really interested in putting any pressure on this lane. We're just mostly going for the contain. Little do we know that we've already well and away broken out of the contain here. Doxed is building a metal storage and a battery. That is quite interesting. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe we're just not going to be building anything for a long time here, and so we're worried about stalling metal. I guess we don't have any plans for a lab at the moment, at least not with this constructor here. Whoa, commander goes down in the middle of the map. Wait till the smoke clears here so we can see who it was. It looks like that is going to be Sophie's commander. Is it? Yeah, I think it's Sophie's commander. Kind of put that graveyard right next to the scoreboard there. Yep, that looks like Sophie. Sophie's commander going down here. But it couldn't have been Sophie. No, it must have been Anubis. Anubis' commander going down because Sophie's commander is still back here building power in the pond. How lovely. Anubis' commander has gone down, and we're also missing a bunch of metal extractors over here. That's not good at all. Blitzes are starting to run past. We do have Rocketeers. They have a hard... Oh, they shoot each other in the back. They have a hard time hitting these blitzes, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Aggravator's sort of the same boat here. When they do hit the blitz, it does do a tremendous amount of damage. Wow, and they get the surround on the blitz. That's not something we see very often. Civ goes up and starts eating up this commander, leaving just 500 metal left in this corpse. Well more than half of that commander got eaten up and sent back to the red team here, so that was quite nice. Doxed is setting up a bit of a forward position, I guess, over here. Oh, are we gonna go for a naval position over in this area? We are. Ah, that's very cheeky. I like that quite a bit. So we're gonna be going for a naval, a big navy in the bottom right-hand corner of the map here in this sort of hidden cove. Not likely to be checked by Big T, so this actually could be really, really important here. Big T probably just assuming that his counterpart here is just not playing the naval battle. It's just forfeiting the naval battle. We haven't seen a commander. We haven't seen any ships. We haven't seen anything. So at least if I was in Big T's position, I would probably just assume that I have free reign to tech up in the naval theater. But that is actually not the case. Doxed is working on building up a sneaky little naval facility. Very nicely done. Very good strategy. I love Supreme Straits because this is the only map I ever see these really, really interesting usages of navy and terrain and all this wonderful stuff. I mean, I'm sure it's out there. If you feel incorrectly about that, if you disagree with me, feel free to send the replay proving me wrong to brightworksreplays@gmail.com, just like that, and I'll be happy to take a look at it. Always fun to hear from you guys, hear what you guys are up to, see the strategies that you guys are up to. Always happy to take a look. Civ moving both commanders around here. This is kind of funny. You don't usually have two commanders to micro on the front line, but Civ doing an excellent job of at the very least trying to keep these commanders moving and grooving here on the front lines. We do degun a couple of those aggravators there. This commander's looking a little bit worn down here. Got a little sway in his hip. You can't see me right now, but I'm rocking back and forth in my chair, or side to side in my chair, I guess you could say. With both commanders up, this is still held, but it is collapsing pretty quickly. These Rocketeers are pushing forward on the front line. Civ says, I'm screwed. And there's no more build power to build anything back here. We're really stalling in that build power at the moment. If Civ can hold for just a little bit longer, maybe sacrifice one of these commanders, we will be in a good shape here. But we do have Mr. Pony with some T2 upgrades, T2 units, that is. Hopefully we see the T2 constructors to upgrade all this stuff, but for the time being, we do see some T2 units brought to the front lines here, walking through the fire and the flames to do a little bit of a counter push here. And it looks like with just this one gunslinger, we are going to hold the aggression here, so that's quite nice. Civ has both commanders here, and we also are resolving that build power problem. We now have an energy problem. Love to see maybe some advanced solar panels going up, but we desperately need units more than anything else, so I think that's really what we should be focused on. Excuse me. Luckily, our backline here has produced some T2 units, and those are going to mop up most of this aggression really, really nicely. Oh, they gotta get in there, though. It's going to be a real pain if we lose these constructor turrets. Oh, and we will. We just got those up and running. But luckily the Fiends are here to mop up this facility. It looks like the gunslinger was jumped on top of, and it did go down. Unfortunate. Those always have really high potential, but if you lose them early, then it's just money down the drain. A little bit of naval aggression here as we see some Dolphins lining up against a couple of assault frigates and even a destroyer here, and as would be expected, the Dolphins do not stand much of a chance. That's why this lane, the sea lane position, is so difficult to hold. That being said, I mean, the Dolphins have taken down the destroyer. There's now just one assault frigate left. We basically just need resbots out here, resurrection submarines, in order to get get all this metal either pulled back into our Navy or resurrected on the field. It looks like we're actually having a huge energy problem right now. We are starting up windmills, but it's really just because the wind power is so low. Once that kicks up again, we're going to be in a really nice spot. We do have a constructor ship out here to eat up all this metal. That's quite nice. You can see 1.2 thousand metal, give or take, left at the bottom of the sea here, and so eating that up, sending it back to our team, going to be very, very nice indeed. At this point, Doxed has built a rather daunting fortification line here. We're actually doing really well. We have build power coming up here. We have energy scaling coming online. For the most part, Big T has quote unquote captured this area. They think that they've won this side of the map. And indeed, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a tech transition coming out here. An ill-timed tech transition, that is, because as soon as these units start pumping out and start coming across the map, he's going to realize that he vastly overestimated the position that he was actually in here. Starting up more energy production, that's absolutely critical. Ships are very metal intensive, but it's often a thing we don't talk about. They also cost quite a lot of energy, so having enough energy to fund them is always really important. Just as well, these naval energy converters are pretty good too, costing only 1 metal and 2,500 energy, and converting 70 metal into 1.1 metal per second. Pretty good. Especially considering tidal power on this map is 21, which is super, super nice. A little Centurion, the Centurion that could, the brave little Centurion. Trying its very best, but it doesn't actually end up getting much done. More and more naval shenanigans are coming online here, as we see some gunboats out and about trying to trying to shoot down a couple of these dolphins that are pushing forward here. It's time to upgrade our arsenal to one that is a bit more powerful. I think I would love to see some destroyers, maybe a couple of assault frigates mixed in. We haven't seen any submarines yet, so we're clear to just either build submarines so that we can use them, or avoid the submersible battle, the submarinal battle. Not sure if that's a word, but it is now. Yeah, these dolphins are just getting torn apart, not getting efficient trades whatsoever. We either need to harass around this army, we need to use the dolphin speed to harass around and start attacking the fringes of this player here, or we need to start making tankier units so that we can properly push in. Either one is the right decision, but just continuing to stream out dolphins isn't going to work. The constructor is going down here. The torpedo launcher is trying its best. Not very effective against these really fast units, and indeed this navy will collapse on top of the production facility here. Do we have any other plans? Looks like we have hovercraft on the mind. It looks like Red Dragon has essentially abandoned this facility here. We're just going to use this as a stalling mechanism. Buy as much time as we possibly can for the hovercraft to build up here on land. So interesting strategies coming out of both teams at the moment. The Tech 2, the Tech 2 Naval Lab is almost completed here. I'd love to see this T1 eaten up so we can finish this T2 lab just a little bit quicker. Meanwhile, Doxt is building a rather formidable navy. That metal is going right into a bunch of ships here. We have destroyers built and out already, as well as a bunch of dolphins. If we just take a look at this entire naval composition, 10 dolphins, 4 destroyers, 4 including the one being built at the moment. But yeah, as soon as those are out and about, things are going to look really nice. We also have an air lab back here. That's interesting. So we are multi-pronging this attack, and we're thinking about attacking all over the place. I would love to see this air lab eaten up now that we have the constructors out. No reason to keep this up and around, although I guess you can go for some shurikens for paralysis, and that can be really, really effective. So I take it back. That might actually be a really nice way to get some even higher value out of your naval units here. Oh, this is nice. The hovercraft have punched through here, and they're trying to get a little bit of value. I don't think they actually did. They didn't manage to get too much. These resurrection submarines are just hanging out here. I'd love to see them eating up all this stuff around here. Ah, there we go. Well, kind of. They're sort of being very picky at the moment. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, no. So we have a huge reclaim circle, so they're just going to eat up everything in the ocean. Yeah, I think that's absolutely the right move. A bunch of scouter planes have been sent across. The Blinks, the Armada Scout. So the blue team has a tremendous view of exactly what the red team is doing at the moment, or at the very least where their technology centers are. We know where a bunch of windmills are. I'd love to see these bombers split up here. They're awfully grouped up together. They do decide to drop their first volley onto a geothermal plant, reducing it to slag and rubble. Oh, yep. Alright, we changed them out. We're going to target something else now. Targeting the windmills here for Mr. Pony. We're not quite sure about where we should actually be placing these bombs. I think I would like to see them hit A and then right-click and drag to do a nice big bombing run all over the place. Yeah, we do find the technology heart of the red team back here, though. Blowing up a bunch of advanced solar collectors here. Almost killing the fusion reactor. If we can kill that, that would be absolutely tremendous. Looks like we'll go after the build power first. Kill the fusion reactor, kill the T2 lab. This player is going to be set back tremendously. If you could get all their constructors too. Ooh, the fusion reactor explosion actually gets all of the constructors. That's very nice. I'd love to see the lab go down as well, because that effectively removes this player from the game. But also we could just turn around and attack this player over here, the orange player here. Black King 99. It looks like we're going to turn our heads towards the geothermal plant over in this direction. Bombers hurling their bombs above them somehow. Quite curious. Looks like we will not get it on the first pass, but I think a second bombing run will be enough. Oh, and we're also going to kill that T2 bot lab as well. So this bombing run has effectively reduced the red team's production to abysmal numbers here. I'd love to see some of these labs targeted down as well, since we have this many bombers. It was a very committed bombing run. So we want to get the absolute most value out of every single one of these as possible. Build power goes up. It goes up, I mean, explodes. Explodes into a million tiny little pieces here. Not very many bombers left. We do have a chainsaw that was built here to tear down what remains, but there are still enough bombers to do some damage to some lighter targets like windmill farms or solar farms or anything like that. The orange player is very fortunate to not have been bombed out of existence. Most of their power production is done by windmills, as well as a fusion reactor right next to energy converters. So this could have been really, really bad. It was very fortunate that base wasn't destroyed here. At this point, wow, actually we've gone up to T2 for docks. So rather than attacking the enemy, we're just going to continue technology scaling. Are we hidden over in this corner here? We are completely hidden. Big T has absolutely no idea what's going on in this corner of the map, and so this could actually be extremely, extremely painful if all of a sudden a bunch of these units just roll into the base here. You can see there's absolutely no defenses. There's hardly even any units out. All the units are busy over here, and they're shooting down the fighter wall from Green, so that's unfortunate. Green needs to reorganize the way that those fighters are being directed here. I would love to see some aggression from docks, though. I think we could absolutely cripple the red player. There's no standing army here. We just have the commander and whatever boats we can throw together, although we're spending all of our metal at the moment on anti-air ships. So we could definitely wipe the red player out of the map, or at the very least out of the water here. We do have anti-nukes up and running too, so that is quite nice. Nuke rushes have been known to occur on this map, and actually I'll have a video out talking about a special little nuke rush you can do. Stay tuned for that one. That'll be a lot of fun. Looks like the purple player has largely won the naval battle here. We still have this this hovercraft platform that was routing hovercraft around the side of the map, and we do see them moving out now. A bunch of these rocket bots, the possums, launching their missiles, and yeah, against a stationary target, they're gonna have an absolute field day. The purple player have vision of this? Does the purple player? No, we do not. Radar is up, but it's just barely out of range here, and you can see they're just barely sneaking around. Now this assault frigate is going to find them eventually. Do we see any kind of reaction, though? Ah, the purple player has spotted this. Time to react. We're not quite sure what the extent of this attack is, whether it's just going to be a bunch of seekers or whether it's actually something more notorious, more of a nuisance. The answer is it will be something more of a nuisance. We do have a couple of crocodiles, as well as these possums, here to wipe out some of these units here. And if the purple player doesn't react here, this could be pretty bad. Seekers are getting into the backline, and they're going to start tearing down some of these metal extractors, some of this economy here. There's fiends rushing towards the hovercrafts, trying to tear them down, but the hovercrafts, of course, see them, turn away, and run. Fiend speed is going to be 83 versus the hovercrafts 114, so the hovercraft can outpace the fiends, but if we're just going to run them straight into the fiends, it's not going to go well. The cleansing flames of those fiends can definitely be pretty dangerous. I'm not sure why we're not just going after the purple player's economy center right here. We have all the exposed, juicy economy in the world just hanging out right here. And so I'd love to see that targeted down. Meanwhile, the red player has got a destroyer, or rather a battleship, out and about. We are ready to start sieging these lines, but as far as the red player knows, again, we have won the naval battle, but little do they know that there is actually a tremendous naval facility over here on this side of the map. That's why it's absolutely critical that you get this island under your control. If you've won the naval battle, you need to send your commander, you need to make an amphibious gantry, you need to do something in order to make sure that you have actually won this battle. Proper scouting wins wars. It's like manners maketh man. Scouting maketh winners. Bunch of pawns chilling out on the job here. That is quite a line of Centurions, though, so I guess I can understand being hesitant to push in there. Battleship contributing some long-range firepower here. Laying down the Dhaka Supreme. The Dhaka sandwich, if you will. The Fiends have officially dealt with the hovercraft push over here, and so all that will cost Captain Squishy is a couple of metal extractors. Not even T2 metal extractors, just T1 metal extractors. And they're going to be in a pretty nice spot here. Starting up a gauntlet, that is a gross misuse of resources. We do not need a gauntlet. We need a tech transition here. Either a T2 vehicle lab or I think I'd like a T2 air lab even better, all things considered. We also have started up another naval plant, though, so that is quite interesting. It's gonna be rough coming back into the Navy with T2 going up against T2 ships that are already out on the field here. Now, luckily, we are upgrading to a T2 economy in the backline here. So this is the real superpower of the naval lane player, is that when you upgrade this economy over here, eventually you do actually outscale this player on this coast. That is, if they don't have these metal extractors in the water over here. So right now the purple player has the lead there, but soon the light pink player probably will slip into a lead, but they have to stop throwing their metal into these gauntlets. That really is just a waste of metal here. Meanwhile, the front line has been thoroughly secured by the blue team. We have this huge contingent of Sheldons from multiple players here, as well as tons of pawns and fiends, kind of a cursed unit composition there, but whatever works, I suppose. We are also going for some light laser turrets, just some twin guards over here, in order to stop any pesky run-bys. At the very least, catch them before they become a true nuisance. But wow, look at this army of platypus moving through. We have 39 with plenty of reinforcements coming along from the back here. Yeah, the orange player has decided to just spend their economy on mostly building platypus. We're also continuing to tech up here, so we are going for a bit of a technology cheese, an eco cheese, if you will. But certainly we're not afraid to get some aggression out and about on the field. This is the right move, by the way. The red player, I think what I would have loved to see them do, more than building destroyers and battleships and all sorts of stuff, I would have loved to see them go for an amphibious lab and start swarming this side of the map with a bunch of tanks. Really spread the blue team thin, and eventually you're going to get an amazing advantage. Doxed has not stopped production. We have more ships, more boats, more everything coming along here. Oh, I was wondering if these platypus were going to find the player over here. Looks like they will not. Nope, the red team has no concept of the player over in this side of the map, so we really are completely hidden over here. Well done by Doxed, I suppose, doing an excellent job of hiding this army. We do have these jammer ships here, which is also quite nice. You can see this little red outline showing exactly how far out these can jam, denying any sort of radar scouting, which is always nice. The platypus numbers are building, though. 57 platypus, and that's certainly enough to do a tremendous amount of damage to the front line here. Or to the back line, I should say. This is the front line here. We do have snipers out and about. Snipers are actually pretty good against these big naval ships. They're a really big target, pretty easy to hit, and if you can fire into them, it's going to be really, really valuable. Certainly more valuable than fighting against fiends. Firing against fiends, as sharpshooters are. They're one big high spike of damage, so it's not really super valuable to just send them against swarm units. So that's why they're countered by ticks or pawns or grunts or that sort of thing. These need to be spread out, though. Although, I guess if the fiends aren't going to react, it won't really be much of an issue. Yeah, the fiends getting tremendous value here. You can see every time they fire, those flames are billowing around all of these platypus. But there is still just too many platypus to deal with here, and so most of them will die trying to kill this reactor. At least I have a feeling about it anyway. There we go. We are going to move them away a little bit. And the reactor goes up, scuffs up a lot of them, but for the most part, enough of them survive to still do some damage over here. I'd love to see these further split up, so some of them head up north, some of them head around the maps, sort of as they're doing right now. Platypus are not known for their insane damage output, but they are known for being extremely fast and extremely annoying. You can see they have that anti-air attack too, so they're absolutely tearing apart the air wall here. The energy converters do go up in smoke, leaving behind a converter wreckage. When's the last time you've seen one of those? It's quite interesting. There's a couple more platypuses though, and they can certainly do some damage on their own here. Doxed is really holding out on the aggression, but it would absolutely cripple the red player to get it out and about on the field. We already have 2 black hydras out now. Things are starting to look pretty dire. Even with this nice little lead here, our entire base did just get ravaged. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure I like this position very much anymore for Doxed. They had an excellent opportunity, and unfortunately it has just not turned out properly. We're churning out these hover tanks on 54 metal a second. We are upgrading our T2 economy back here, but I think I would love to see a switch towards a energy converter economy. since we have all this lane open, I think it would be quite nice. A couple of these cruisers, the Buccaneers, here to shoot down these hover tanks, and they do a pretty good job at it. Those heavy lasers can definitely melt them down relatively quickly. Light laser turrets chipping in some damage here and there as well. Hover tanks are pretty quick, though. So they can definitely, well, I wouldn't say definitely outrun. These ships can outscale these pretty quickly, and I think they're probably a little bit faster. But certainly we would want to see these used in more of a cheeky maneuver. You know, send them around the sides, some poke at the sides of the defenses here. Don't just send them right up against a military that is, or a navy rather, that has already built up a tremendous force here. Yeah, that hovercraft aggression, not worth very much. Looks like our brown player here is actually tapped out. I think Romanides should probably take over that player's base, just so at the very least we have it. We have their resources being folded back into the game here. But it's time for another platypus wave. Fusion is here. That's very good teamwork. Using our Black Hydra to fire at the fusion reactor. We do take out the Juno, and now the fusion reactor goes up in smoke. Very nicely done. Absolutely crippling Sophie here. She is going to have a really hard time getting back into this game. Just the commander left. We do have a bunch of res bots. If we spare these, ooh, we need to move these out. I think if she moves these res bots out, we can actually resurrect a lot of this once our team has mopped it up. But unfortunately, the platypus will continue marching forward with a lone res bot to her name. At least we're claiming this, and all that metal is going back to the team. So hopefully the team has some sort of way of dealing with this. But in the meantime, the Navy has finally decided to march out here. Actually, really excellent timing, because the red player here is going for a underwater gantry, the T3 gantry, as well as an advanced fusion reactor. And what that means is that there is no units being produced at the moment. So this whole navy is finally being spotted for the first time. The red player is like, whoa, what? Where did this massive navy come from? And so indeed, the entire economy is absolutely ravaged here. Yeah, all the build power goes down. That's quite nice. We have tons and tons of paladins. Ooh, getting rained upon by our own missile cruisers here. But yeah, and suddenly the red player's base is completely gone. We are moving the commander underneath all these ships, trying to get a self-destruct, I would imagine. Although we haven't queued the self-destruct. So the depth charges are going to have a field day. And the commander goes up. Takes down one ship for its troubles. The reactors are all going up, and this fusion reactor is also close enough to the beach that they can be fired upon. I would love to see these siege it from quite a far away so that we don't lose anything here. There we go. Very nicely done. Energy converters go up, and suddenly the red team is left entirely without production. Now they do immediately jump on top of this base over here. We realize, oh, you've been a cheeky beaky son of a gun here, and you've been actually producing units in this corner of the map that I forgot to clear for the last 20 minutes. And yeah, suddenly we're at a tremendous advantage here. This army continuing to sweep through this side of the map, and the red player is left without anything to their name. One constructor vehicle over here, and another two over on this side. But if we snipe both of those, the red player is going to be essentially wiped out of this match for all intents and purposes here. Dolphins teaming up against a destroyer. Yeah, they're grouped together, and that's a field day for anything with AoE to it. Destroyer does eventually go down. Yeah, we don't want to fight this army head on, though. We definitely want to go around the edges. If you can't win the naval fight, you definitely don't want to engage the enemy head on here. That's just going to be a cost-ineffective trade for you. Paladins do not beat flagships. Flagships beat flagships. It's actually a pretty easy one-to-one matchup. Dolphins are being a nuisance here. We're slowly whittling down these T2 anti-air ships, the Arrow Storms. Not very quickly, though. It's going to take a while. Although it's not like there's any reinforcements coming for the red team, so I suppose any damage we do is good damage, but free damage would be a whole lot better. We are moving all of our units together in one big control group. I think I'd like to see these anti-air ships split up, as well as maybe this missile cruiser here. A battleship is out, and that actually could do some serious damage. You see it does a couple percent, 1 or 2% every time it fires. Definitely don't want to be ramming. Yeah, ramming the flagships is definitely not the way to go, but Certainly we did a little bit of damage with that thing. I think I would love to see some submarines here. Of course, that is the major weakness of these Black Hydra. Any capital ship, really, is that there's no underwater attack for them. So we could pump out a couple of these Barracuda, or even some Serpents, and you're going to be in a tremendous position. Oh, we're actually stalling on energy to fire the lasers of our Black Hydra here, so that's quite nice. Commander starts marching forward. I suppose we can move the commander on land and degun from there, or we could just self-destruct the commander from underneath the water. That's a lot less effective, though, since the patch has changed the way that the damage drop-off works on the commander. So if you're looking to self-destruct, you have to make sure that you're really 100% on top of wherever these ships are if you're going to do that. That is not what we're going for, though. We're just going to be firing with the commander here. Not ideal, I don't think. I would have liked to see him self-destruct that there. Them there. They, them there. The Yellow Army is marching forward. That's a lot of bulls pushing into this Overseer here. The plasma shield. Those bulls can't get much work done, though. Well, the Black Hydra go down. Ah, we do switch to submarines. Very nicely done. Yep, submarines are the way to go here. Look at this 5-star general torpedo launcher. You don't see that very often. Yeah, this Black Hydra goes down as well. Okay, well, the benefit of having taken these down by ourselves and them not ravaging our base is that we can just get a bunch of resurrection submarines out and about, and then suddenly you have a bunch of really, really powerful ships folded into your navy here. Indeed, that's exactly what we start doing. Very nicely done. Doc's showing us that they're not afraid to take those naval engagements. It cost a lot of metal to shut that down, but I think eventually it was worth it. Was it too little too late, though? Now there's a huge army pushing through here. We have Marauders, we have Sheldon, we have radar and radar jammers. This is going to be a tough one to hold. Certainly the Overseer is being extremely helpful here, but eventually it runs out of battery, and there's nothing left in its tank, and the Marauder, the Sheldon, and all the rest of them can continue to push forward here. The Overseer goes down, making this army a whole lot more effective. Biddy Bass is trying their best to move their commander into position. Unfortunately, gets a lot less value out of that than I think they were hoping to achieve. Sophie's commander in quite a lot of trouble. She's going to have to evacuate here. Or she can sacrifice her commander for the greater good of the team. Oh, Sophie has inherited a base over here. Or built a base over here? I'm not sure. I didn't notice this over here. Either someone else built it, or she's done a tremendous job of rebuilding in the meantime. But either way, we are up to advanced fusion reactors. We've got a ton of bot labs swarming out, a ton of T1 at the moment. Yeah, this is actually looking really good. The commander does go down. I mean, I didn't catch how much of this army it destroyed, but there's still a ton left, so I am hesitant to say that she didn't manage to take many of them down to a shared grave. That's a lot of Juno missiles. That's an insane amount of Juno missiles. I have no idea why we have this many Juno missiles. I mean, it's great, I guess. There's no chance that any tick is ever going to make it to this half of the map. Yeah, that's for sure. Now, Paladins are actually really good against these Marauders because they can't attack when they're underwater, and the Paladins, of course, have their depth charge launcher. We're eating up this advanced fusion reactor. Wouldn't it be funny if we resurrected that and we left a enemy fusion reactor on their front lawn? I think that would be quite hilarious. I think Doxt is in a prime position here to move themselves into a interception role where they basically shut down the flow of units coming in here. There's already tons of Marauders coming out. Was that a bombing run? Ah, no, it's longbows. There was a series of longbows over here offshore. Messengers, sorry. And they were raining their missiles down on the T3 facilities here of Mr. Pony. Very nicely done. That's an excellent pick. I would love to see something similar done by Mr. Doxt here, or Mrs. Doxt, whoever you might be. I'd love to see you move these Black Hydras back into battle positions here and start raining down hell from afar on Domanity's position. I am impressed with how many how many of these Juno missiles that we've got in the backline here. That's quite insane. The Twin Guards also holding the line against all of these platypus here. This is a laser battle if you've ever seen one. Now those platypus do have a decent amount of health, so eventually they will push through the front lines. Or the back lines, I guess, more than anything. Hold my ween in a pretty tough spot here. Commander does go down. Wipes away a lot of those platypus, but not all of them. See the constructors desperately trying to set up lines of defense here. The Marauders do spot the advanced fusion reactors, and that's absolutely the right target. They're told to fire all guns. The advanced fusion reactor. And it goes up. Brilliantly. Now this is nice. We've done exactly what I was saying we probably should have done. And we've moved a bunch of our paladins into an interception role so that a lot of these marauders are going to be scuffed up really badly when they pop out on the foreign shores here. You can see a lot of them are missing a little chunk of health. Certainly we could just continue doing that. That's one option here. But the other is to use these paladins to capture this coastline and then start sieging from afar. Also wouldn't mind seeing a amphibious lab once again. Never the wrong move once you've won the naval battle. Yeah, there's still enemy presence over here. We never cleared this out properly. So we're not quite ready to go build on that island just yet. Captain Squishy Pardon me for just a second. I need to just take a step back, reorient my thoughts. Focusing a whole lot on sieging this base from this side of the map. And for what it's worth, I mean, we've done our job. We could still kill this player over here, Mr. Pony. There's still a lot of base left over here. Namely a couple really low health advanced fusion reactors. But aside from that, we've basically done our job. So again, I would love to see an amphibious lab pumped out here. I'd also love to see an amphibious lab for the sake that we could take down this nuisance over here. Red Dragon 2010. Or 2010, perhaps. Whoa, this is an enemy Razorback contingent. I thought these were friendly just because of how far they'd pushed in here. No, these are enemy Razorbacks pumped out by Mr. Pony, and they're pushing right into the heart of Sophia's base. She's actually in a lot of trouble. These Razorbacks are looking incredibly healthy. There's no commander left. Her commander did go down. And suddenly there's Razorbacks tearing her front door apart. Yeah, all the production falls here. There are mammoths out, and those are a decent option. They can blast off a couple % with every shot here, but the advanced fusion lights up, and all of that base goes down. That was a weird glitch right there, but Sophie's base is completely removed from the map. She is reduced to nothing, actually. Taps out of the game. Hands all of the units over to Lacopa, who is now making up 90% of this map. 90% of the blue team, anyway. There is something to be said for the naval power here of Dox to has clawed themselves into a naval position that is quite powerful. These paladins eager to launch their depth charges against these marauders, which have stalled on APM and will no longer be moving forward. They've made a tactical decision to surrender their lives to the greater good, and so in that respect they will no longer be effective. Platypus also marching to their deaths here as a bunch of paladins, as well as these resurrected Black Hydra, are sent to guard this front line. Those platypus are not going to find an effective route. And suddenly we're in a very bizarre position where the blue team's backline has been completely ravaged. However, they own both of the seas. They control both seas, which is really bizarre. That does not happen often. That's a really odd split map scenario. Paladins getting tremendous gaining tremendous effectiveness against these marauders here, since they cannot fire underwater. And shortly, these marauders will be completely wiped off the map. Very nicely done. Blue is casually ignoring this mass of yellow units pushing forward here. There's still a lone orange Razorback. Does manage to survive until the mammoths here blasted apart. But yeah, that's a lot of bulls. That's an effective 35 bulls. Certainly enough to tear down early T2 defenses, short of bulwarks, pulsars, that sort of thing. Quite a lot of them. You're gonna need a lot in order to stop a bunch of bulls here. The Grunt Swarm marches forward, but the Razorbacks are just having a field day. More than happy to lay down an infinite amount of laser fire DACA in order to stop this progress here. Looks like that's what our Salmon player was going for a while, was those Razorbacks. But we have now switched to hover tanks, which is quite nice. The Cortex hover tank I tend to like quite a bit more, but the Armada one, I mean, there's something to be said about it. It does a decent job here. These Juno missiles are quite interesting. I wonder if we think that those are more effective as, like, you know, an actual missile than they actually are. Those are definitely just, I mean, they're anti-radar. They do 1% to windmills, so I suppose if you launch enough of them, you're gonna blow up your enemy's windmills, which is hilarious. Mammoth here trying its best to stop these bulls from pushing far forward. There's actually a couple Scorpion batteries up here. Those are pretty good, especially against these armored targets. They do a nice little spike of damage. Razorback that was resurrected off the charred remains of Sophie's base will actually end up being very useful on the back line here. Tearing down most of these, if not all of these bulls, and they will actually be halted. Very nicely done. Now we have some platypus that have marched around this side of the base. They could very easily walk around and destroy this advanced fusion reactor over here. They could also walk... Well, it'd be tougher to walk up into the water here. Or up into the rear base here. As we can see, there's a bunch of Scorpion batteries. Laser turrets. Hundreds and hundreds of them melting down these bulls. That's quite nice. Lakopa's commander, one of their commanders, is cloaked over here. Advanced fusion reactor does go down to those... all of those platypus that marched through over there. But we do see that Romanity's base has been completely wiped off the map by these Black Hydra that were pushed forward over here, so that is quite nice to see. It's time for amphibious units. We resurrected a hovercraft platform off of our red player here. We are streaming an infinite number of these Seekers in order to, to devastating non-effect. That's a tremendous amount of metal that we're spending every second here. That's 4, 5... you know, I definitely spoke too early on that. I thought that was going to be a whole lot more. We're just streaming them out so slowly because we lack build power. Certainly Red Dragon 20 could be doing quite a lot more. Ah, there's quite a lot more. We do have some Marauders marching across. It's a construction turret, picking them apart as well as it can. But yeah, some Marauders marching across. Okay, I like that quite a bit more. We are spending our metal on upgrading our... Oh, we are not spending our metal. That's unfortunate. These construction turrets have been queued in such a way that they are only working on the T3 gantry, so that's why our economy is not growing as quickly as we probably assumed that it was at the moment. A devastating naval effect here, but purple is slowly slipping. And yeah, Dox does not have the amphibious gantry. So there's no way for them to properly siege the back line here. This is a cloud's worth of bombers, 62 Stormbringers ready to bring the pain, and they're headed straight towards the blue player's base. There's not a ton of anti-air I can see here. Yeah, it looks like we're not very afraid of bombers. We weren't harassed early on into the game by much air, and so that means that there is not very many anti-air options here. Destroy it all. Bring the blue menace crumbling to their feet. So we can see the bombers choosing their new targets here and devastating everything in the back line. Absolutely crushing. Love to see them turn and target these advanced fusion reactors. Sort of the last remaining high-tech option over here. Right now they're currently wasting a lot of attacks. There we go. Romanities highlights the advanced fusion reactors, points those bombers in the right direction, and I think eventually they will be able to bomb this down. It's going to take a few passes though. These Stormbringers not tremendously effective. We seem to be a little bit unsure about exactly what we want to do here. We are sending in a gaggle of new bombers to come and help with this. But yeah, eventually this is going to fall. 20%, 15%, 10, 5, and the advanced fusion reactors go up in smoke, leaving very little to the blue player's advantage here. Suddenly they don't have very much production in their pocket at all. We can see a whopping 5,000 energy and 33 metal a second, with very, very little build power here. Things are not looking good for Lakopa. Indeed, the resign vote is called here. And the blue team will finally cave under the pressure. Man, what a close one. It's really rare that you get to see the team take over both C's and still lose the game here, but I guess enough damage was done in the back line. No air screen set up. And man, what a fun game. I really love these Supreme Straits games. I love seeing the unique strats. That's definitely one I'm going to have to try, this strat over here in the bottom right hand. And you can see the economy scaling here. This was exactly when the attack happened by Doxer, or Dox, whatever their name was. But anyways, thanks a ton for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a really cool one. I will see you in the next video.